Welcome to another edition of the B100 Show. Got some special guests here today. We got Albert, NAACP Vice President, and we also got Mr. Jeff, a very intellectual man from this Florida area here. So what we're gonna do here today is try to shed some light on all the topics this week, which has been a really tragedy week. So what we're gonna do is just touch on a lot of the stuff that the news probably ain't told you about, that made it just really confusing for the other people. I want to just say hello to the guests for being here.
How you doing?
Albert here.
Howdy, how you doing?
Okay, so let's get it started, fellas. You know, so Jeff, what's your opinion about all the kneeling, the Puerto Rico tragedy? We're looking at the shooting in Las Vegas, and there's so many more, you know.
I'll touch on the kneeling first. For me, the kneeling is something that I was already doing with my kids before the Colin Kaepernick thing became. It's just because it's deeper than that. I feel like we shouldn't just pledge to something that we don't truly understand. You know what I mean? From the time the kids in grade school all the way up there, like pledge allegiance to this flag, and to just go back to understand that when that flag came about, the only allegiance that they had was to make sure that we was property. So it's so much deeper than just saying that, oh, I want to be a proud American, because to be a proud American is to truly not understand what history it is. It's no disrespect to the military people, it's no disrespect to anybody who served. It's just a clear understanding of what this nation is built on. And you know, for me, it's just, like I said, if we go back to when this nation became about, because it gained its independence in 1776, slavery wasn't over to 1865. So having an understanding of that, just like we were still property when this became a nation. So I just can't rock with something that is built in filth. You know what I mean? Until we address that, we can never truly move forward. And for me, it's just, like I said, it's just about understanding, you know, like a lot of my ancestors died. A lot of people died. A lot of people did fight for that flag, but it was under a guise of getting freedom. Then, you know, even during the Reconstruction era, all the way up to the Civil Rights Movement, you still have people who look like myself, or African American, African Black, whatever you want to call it, who are still dying from the same means, whether it's 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and 300 years ago. And just to understand what this country was built on is to understand that it's not something you should be pledging allegiance to. It's propaganda, if you ask me, you know, for the whole world about, oh yeah, we're this progressive country. But if you live here, you understand what we're talking about. So for somebody like Colin Kaepernick to risk his check, his livelihood, and everything else, to do that, to make a stance, because whether it's today, tomorrow, and 2 more weeks, we're probably going to hear again about another African person shot down by another white officer. Not that it don't just happen to us, but it's just not going to change. That is the history. Until somebody starts standing up and saying, look, this is not going to work.
When Colin Kaepernick made his stance, to this day right now, he still ain't got a job.
And, you know, that's because that shows you that we haven't come along as a country, because they say they fought, like the military people he so-called offended. They fought for that freedom of speech.
Because it wasn't about his status, because the man got a good status in football. His record is almost impeccable, you know, so it wasn't about his job. And then what they tried to do was just try to take his opinion away from him. If he felt that way, that's the way he wanted to, you know, bring it to the forefront, he did. You should respect that.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying though, when you look at the NFL, it's a global game. It's just not just shown here. So for the whole world to sit back in all the little different countries to watch it, they trying to show that Americans progressive with the election of Obama and with NFL players, these rich NFL players, because that's like, for him to do that, it's signaling that something's not right in this country, because you know what they say, oh, you got black athletes making millions of dollars, you had a black president, you got this, you got that. So we're moving forward as a country. So for him to sit there and be like, nah, this is not what happened, it's putting a stain on America, who is considered the high standard, like, oh, now we're so progressive, this is how you should live. But they're still having problems, so you have to silence him.
Right. Well, let's see what Albert seems to think about this.
I want to add something else to it, too. Not only that, the media was in cahoots with all of the people trying to say that it was a problem for them to kneel. And here's why. There's already a list. There's about 14 things that you can go and Google. what is disrespecting the flag?
Exactly.
It's like wearing the flag, wearing it as a bikini, putting it on your head, draping it in the wrong manner. But nowhere on that list do you see kneeling is something disrespecting. So the media went in and joined in the campaign, and you can see the struggle that we have as black folk. Once the media gets a hold to it, if you make the media and they spin it on you and you don't have a chance to, even when you tell them the truth, even when you show them this information, and anybody can go Google it right now, what is disrespecting a flag? Because the media has already dubbed you as bad.
Exactly.
For years, just being black, we automatically come in with a little bit of taint, but the minute they call you bad, then you're bad. Kaepernick went to a Navy SEAL, as I understood, and talked to his buddy and said, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to sit during the anthem. And the Navy SEAL said it'd be better if you take a knee.
Really?
He said, I would not be offended with you taking a knee for the event. Yet the news doesn't report that because it doesn't fit the narrative. You, as a black man, don't have a right to think. You don't have a right to act on your own. I don't care. We pay you this money to do what? Dance when we tell you to dance? Turn around when we tell you to turn around? You can't even get sick when you want to. You on the field and you say, I'm sick, take me out.
So Affleck don't kick in.
Yeah, they come
the
in,
black man, huh?
it ain't even about Affleck, it's about you don't have the permission to think. You go out there and tell your coach you hurt, what do? They take you to that back room, and when you come out, you jumping 10 feet high, and nobody asks why. Until 20, 30 years later when they find out you got brain concussions, your body won't move, or anything like that. So we got a bigger problem than just kneeling.
Oh yeah, the problem that we got here in America, I think, to myself, is it's been kept and been swept under the rug so many years to where the whole nation is starting to trip over it. You can't keep sweeping injustice, which we talked about on the show a couple of years ago, and then we also brought it to the table a month ago about injustice and equality. When you get to the point where you kind of like not really bringing it to the forefront, what happens is that it started exploding. People start tripping over it. It's like the sinkhole that you never filled up. Well, it's usually just gonna get bigger. It's not just gonna get to the point where, it's gonna shrink by itself and fill up, on its own. So the Kaepernick thing and the kneeling, I mean, hey, that's their right. That's their right to protest. And then when you got the president kicking in at it, and then he's saying, fire the son of a bitches. Well, I can say that on this show. If the president can say it, what makes you think the average kid ain't gonna say it?
Yeah.
Fire those son of a bitches,
Right.
So you got a kid that's gonna be in school one day, he gonna get up and he gonna probably say, fire that son of a bitch of a teacher. And then you can't discipline him because why? His president, said, the head honcho of America just said it, See, but this man has no respect, for other people's worlds because he's been in a world where he's been sheltered, and he never had to make a bowl of cereal by himself. You see what I'm saying?
It's deeper than that, though. It's just America as a whole. Like, man, you just from the existence of America, man, you show me to where people of color like ourselves have been, like slavery, reading was illegal.
Yeah.
Like, you can get killed for reading.
Yeah.
Like, right now, that's exactly what it is with Colin Kaepernick. Oh, he's thinking for himself. Like, no, we can't have that. We can't have you challenging the status quo because that is a problem. Because, once we start to have a confidence about ourselves, 'cause that's what it all boils down to, giving the confidence. You see him, you see all these little black kids looking up to this black man, so I'm gonna stand for something.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a powerful image. So with the media, like you were saying, you have to demonize them because most people get their emotions from the media.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? They perpetuate fear through the TV. So if you like this is bad, I'm pretty sure half the people who are mad at him doing that don't even stand when they hear the national anthem. You know what I mean? It's just something for them to talk about and something for them to be like, oh, he don't deserve that. He's making so much money. So what?
Yeah, they cut out certain verses of the national anthem because it was talking about even killing slaves in it. That part was cut out.
They revised it.
A lot of people don't know that, but see, that's what I'm saying. When you keep sweeping stuff up under the rug, you're gonna get this lump. And then everybody ain't gonna be able to get over the hump. especially the Trump lump right there we got right now. The Trump lump is a lump that, I mean, that America wouldn't expect it. But that goes to show you is money, power, politics.
Right.
You know, and then, like when you just like I said, when you've been fed out a golden spoon all your life, you don't really feel the same way that other people do. Like in past shows, I talked about where when you're making over $250,000 a year and your spouse probably doing the same, you don't breathe the same air. You don't worry about the Duke Energy bill or you know, the Tico bill as much. You know, you just get out a pen, write the check, and it's done. See, that's how our president came up. And then when you see him go over to Puerto Rico, throwing out paper towels like he at an arcade shooting into the basketball rim, that ain't the way you greet people. Now, if Obama would have did half of that, what you think, fellas?
Well, now you said the American people were surprised when Trump was elected. Did
well,
you say it? Because I wasn't surprised.
Well, a lot of
I
people-
knew he was on his way. I told some people, I said, this guy is one of those kind of guys that's on the rise, and with the climate in the country, this guy is probably going to win. Now, on the other side, you had Hillary running around like she thought she had it all going
Yeah,
on, and
yeah.
she wasn't paying attention, and so
Yes.
she didn't understand the game, and he understood the game. You notice he didn't go to those little places that didn't mean anything. He went to all those places where he could get the most electoral vote because he wasn't worried about the mass of people. He was worried about the game. And if you don't play the game right, then you lose the game.
Yeah, that's
the game has
absolutely.
always been electoral college. We just go through the motion to make ourselves feel good. In the final analysis, if none of us voted, they still gonna have the electoral college, and they're the ones that are gonna decide, and that was put in place to guarantee that Jeffrey, that Albert, that Melvin, if y'all did something that I didn't agree with, I got a safety valve. You know, so yeah, I knew he was gonna get in there, and he's following an agenda.
Yes, that is
Everybody
true.
keeps saying he's making the agenda. I'm saying he's following a prescribed agenda that's been given to him, and he's helping to push back.
Yeah, that's why a person like yourself, your job is so important by being the vice president, you know, of the NAACP, you know, and then programs like this, you know, public access, to put the public more into play, you know, because those are the people money that they spend up there. One of my callers called a couple of years ago, and he was like, well, you know, those people up there are so old, when they open up their mouth, dust comes out of it, you know, because the thing about it, they well off, like the fellow who just came back to Congress, had just got shot. He's not worrying about what you call insurance. He wasn't worrying about his insurance covering him for all the months that he was in the hospital being shot, you know. And then one of the points that I like to make far as with even from the kneeling to the black shootings that we get almost every other week, you know, it rolls into play same way. You can almost see on a yearly basis a new slavery movie coming out, you know. I mean, it's just constant, you know, it's constantly getting thrown in your face.
That's a constantly ingrained this image, like you're nothing more but a slave.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? They don't make movies about us being the first people. They don't make movies about Marcus Garvey, people who stood up for something that had an agenda. So you're talking about a man who united millions and millions of people without Facebook.
Exactly.
Without any type of social media, just from the presence of his voice and how he spoke to the soul of a people. But you know, they're going to, oh yeah, 12 years a slave. You're doing this, you're doing this. Then they get the movies where they make like the gods of Egypt, where they put all nothing but European folks in it. You know what I mean? And that's disheartening because, like I said, you have a generation of younger kids who's looking at this. And like, I remember growing up. I was telling Mr. Albert earlier today. Growing up, I had this preconceived notion that I was not taught at home. Love my mama, love my daddy, but at one point in time, I didn't like my people. And that's not something that I was taught. That's just something that you see growing up in every day. Like, you know, I cut on the TV, Superman.
Yeah.
Okay, a doctor.
There was no black heroes.
There's nobody black unless I play sports.
Yeah,
and that is wrong. That is like, you know what I mean? You know, so for me, it's more about like getting to a place to where we have a quiet confidence about ourselves. You know what I mean? That's what America. That's one good thing. That's one thing America's good at.
There was no superhero. I mean, I ain't seen no black heroes in the Super Friends. I grew up watching Superman, you know, Wonder Woman, Batman. all them was there. You know, Aquaman. You know, there was no black heroes there.
Well, let me date
You know?
myself. I can tell you a time when we would be out playing, and your mama would stick her head out the door and say, "Hey, there's a black guy on TV."
Well,
And you would stop, if you was in the middle of a jump shot, you'd stop the jump shot and run to the house just
Who's
so
that,
you
Sidney
could see
Poitier?
somebody like that. You know, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There was a time where you were dying to see images like yourself.
but you know, in the
And so
70s,
parents
though,
kept you like that.
in
you
the
know?
70s, you know, what you saying in that black era, it was more black, like sitcoms on TV. You had, you know, Happy Days never even had a black man on there.
Talking about Good
You know,
Times.
Yeah, you
Good
know, Good
Times.
Times, yeah,
Good
Good
Times. You had Good Times. You had What's Happening. You know, you had 227. You know, Fred Sanford. You know, I mean the Jeffersons. I mean, right now, you can't count one, but the Blackish. And look at the title, the Blackish. You see what I'm saying?
man, chance
The
to
Blackish
watch
try to live whitish.
Right.
You see?
Right.
I mean, we don't even have an identity, you know?
And that's systematic though, in a way that you like. If you just take a polar bear and put him in California, you would still bring that polar bear diet, and no matter where you put him, he would be considered a polar bear.
Exactly.
But so when you go through slavery, and the whole thing is to reprogram. Like, you know, like right now we got all these healthcare issues that's going on. That's because the miseducation on the diet. They didn't like, we use that polar bear, they didn't bring our diet with us. Matter of fact, you're gonna beat us. Because if you, like, you know, everybody has their own swag about how they talk, walk, and all that. And if you do anything that goes against that, then you're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, like the English language, like if I sit in here and be like, "fo," they be like, "Oh, that's wrong." But understanding that the English language don't even have its own script, and most of it is borrowed language anyway, there's no wrong way to speak because we're culturally different, but they all want us to be culturally like them, which is perceived to be right. Like, you got black cats, which is considered bad. You got black male, which is considered bad. Then you got the black sheep of the family. Just all these terms associated with our people are meant to ingrain in being bad. But if you get married, you wear white. If you're an angel, you're white. And all these other things that people can't see, what they're doing, that speaks to the subconscious. You know what I mean? So it's a lot deep. Like, they don't understand the war through the food, through education, through TV, through media, just everything, because images are what control our life.
Exactly.
Back to what I was saying. So, like, by me not seeing no positive images on TV, I had a complex growing up. You know, it was more about me trying to fit in, making sure when I'm around this group of people, I don't speak a certain way and make sure I pronounce my R's, or just holding my head down, feeling like I don't belong in this restaurant. You know, and then I'm way past that now because me and him was talking about some great speakers earlier. You know, like Amos Wilson,
Exactly.
Dr. John Henry Clark.
Right.
You know, they acquired confidence just to know where you come from. Know thyself is one of the truest things that you can ever live by. You know,
You see,
because
some of those greats get swept up under the rug.
and that's systematic too. You know?
They get swept up under the rug. You don't even see them.
Egyptians had a saying that said the basis of all knowledge is self-knowledge. So if you don't understand who you are, you can't understand anything else that goes on in your life. So that's the importance of you going out there, learning about yourself from a past. You know, we were talking about the past. Without the past, you can't go to the future because everything that helped build you from the time before you could even remember as a child will dictate how you act. If I beat you every day, from the time you're born to the time you're 5, the day I don't beat you, you'll come and get to switch and beat me yourself if you don't get me to beat you.
Yeah, mentally and physically.
Yeah, see, so that's the kind of thing that we have to watch when we're talking about even raising our next generation of people that we go.
Right.
You know, I talk about the fact that all the guys with the guns, they said we need to take the guns away. I said no, we just need to direct them in the right direction. See, we form a circle around this table and we turn around and shoot ourselves, we've defeated our purpose. But if we turn our backs to each other and fight for one cause and shoot in the right direction, it might mean something. See, because all the Bloods, all the Crips, all these guys today, back in the day, they would have been the Black Panthers.
It was the Black Panthers.
They would have been your SLCC, the thing that Martin Luther King was a part of. Before he got with the NAACP, he was with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, working with them also. You see?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of people that we need to go back and get these young boys and say, hey, we got something else for you to do. Don't change how they function, don't change their energy, just redirect the energy. That's the way you get more out of them. For me, that's the way I see it anyway.
No, I agree with you. You need that young energy because one day, like as we progress in our lives and get older, we're not going to have that energy. So it's important to build up that next generation of people from the ground up, so they can have that energy, so they can pass it on. And that's what I'm saying now. They're not teaching them things like you. I wasn't lucky enough to see any of the great master teachers speak, but I could watch them on YouTube video. You know, so a lot of them people are passing that knowledge on, but they're gone and they're getting buried, like you said.
Yeah.
So you know, me for the most part, I didn't grow up knowing about none of these people.
Yeah.
Think about it today. They talk about black on black crime. They talk about all the killing in our neighborhood, and then you have a guy go up into a hotel with 10 bags of guns, enough ammunition that he had to do it 3, 4, 5, 6 times, break a window, and then kill and maim up to 400 people.
So
and you heard anything about white on white crime yet?
So I'm trying to figure out, when Albert go to that hotel and you on the 36th floor, when you break that window, security up there right away.
I would think even past that.
Yeah.
You know, as they're walking you up and down the hallway, and you carrying these big bags of bullets and these big bags of guns, somebody should have said, "Wonder what that guy got in that bag."
Right.
You know, but you don't do it. It's like they did the test where they sent a black guy into a store, they sent a white guy into the store, so the security guards follow the black guy all around the store, and
Absolutely.
the white guy was stealing everything out the store.
That happens to me all the time.
Right. You see, so they follow you and want to know what you're doing.
It even happened to your past president, Obama. He said he was in the he was in the elevator. You get on the elevator, white lady go to clench her purse.
Right.
You know, and to American society, you don't really want to have to say black, white, Hispanic. You know, it's supposed to be the United States of America. I asked on past shows if it's so united. Why is the rules different in California for a man to have hundreds of acres of weed, but in Chicago, you're taking the young boy to jail for it? If he's white, black, Hispanic, Mexican, or whatever, he's going to jail. But if he's in California, now Las Vegas, if he's in Las Vegas, he can just stand out and smoke weed. It's okay now.
You need to divide everybody.
That's the way you divide and conquer.
Because if you have a whole nation that is on one page, and you can do away with all the colors and all this and that, like how would the government control us? But as long as you got these people over here, like, well, that's happening in California, that ain't got nothing to do with me. Like Emmett Till's mom, you know, she gave him an open casket so she could show the world, because when she was up there in New York, she was like, this can't happen to me.
Right.
You're not worried about it.
Yeah, and they don't even talk about the beginnings of this country. When they wrote that paper that said, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created, they meant all them guys that were signing that document. They didn't mean anybody else.
Absolutely.
Okay, get a book called White Trash. That'll really be an eye-opening. White Trash is one of those titles that you sometimes hate to throw out because people get the wrong idea. They'll give you the history of how the rich and powerful already came here with the intent of controlling anybody else. So not only did Africans become slaves over here, but they brought the indentured people from England. They brought the ones who couldn't pay their debts, and they brought them over there, and they became the white trash. In fact, the rich and powerful gave them the name white trash, and they became just like Africans. In many cases, they said they were treated worse than Africans were as slaves. You see? So there was always an intent to have those above, special, and then those people below, and you see it play out every day as we go through our life. You know, the violence, they create that scenario. One minute they tell us that we're lazy and don't want to do anything. That's why they had to keep us in slavery. Then when slavery ends, we can't trust you. You're violent and you're too energetic. Now make up your mind. What are we? Well, they fit the scenario to whatever they want us to do, because when they said we hold these truths to be self-evident, they meant we're going to tell you what's good, we're going to tell you what's bad, and we need to revisit that sometime.
Just like he said, it's control. If you can control a person to the point where he needs you to get that paycheck, and then like in Florida here, it's a right to work state, which I'm quite sure you deal with all the time.
All the time.
With all the melting pot that we have here, all the individual race creeds that we have here. It's a right to work state, and when in a right to work state, that means that you can come in. If you sneeze into the tissue wrong, you can be let go. without no ifs, ands, buts, no maybes. And see, when you're controlling people like that, you know, you really don't have a pot, you know, to really say, well, okay, I can be better. I can go do this. Because tomorrow I ain't promised to you with your job. And in today's world, as we see in Las Vegas, it's not promised to you if you go to a concert, no matter what color you is here.
Right.
You know, and sometimes, I mean, doing a little research, they say it was all, my heart goes out to the people in Vegas, but I say, when I did the research and then I did a couple of facts checking, the fellow who owns the hotel there is actually a fellow who invented, you know, the metal detector machines. He plays a big part in that. I don't know if he quite invented it, but he plays a big part in the manufacturing part of it. So with this tragedy happening, this man can pretty much outdo anybody in the world as far as making money this in the upcoming years, because you're gonna need a metal detector at every hotel you go to now. Look at Disney. You're gonna really need a lot of them.
But see, that's up to us to learn how to be more self-sufficient too. You know what I mean? Because slavery has not ended; it just transformed. It's called,
Absolutely.
It's called wage slavery. You know what I mean? In order for you to get ahead, you want that
stroke
new
of the
car.
pen slavery.
You need a car. You gonna come work for me for minutes. You gonna get this job, and you ain't gonna miss work.
Right.
You gonna do all that. So understanding how that's moving along, because we've no longer self-sufficient. I remember growing up, my grandma and them had gardens. They went and fished. They did all that. Now you can't see none of that. You don't see gardens nowhere. You don't see.
You need a license to go fishing, bro.
And that's one thing we don't see, how they slowly impeded on our
If you
rights.
ain't got it,
know
you
what I
going
mean?
to jail. You're gonna eat bologna.
Think about that. You need a license to fish. I need a license to feed myself. Why?
Right.
You know what I mean? But that is how we constantly cornhole you and just get you to where we want you. So you have to depend on us. Oh, you need healthcare? Come to us.
You know, in
you want food
Wisconsin,
stamps? Come to us.
Jeff, in Wisconsin, if you go get that fishing license, and if you owe some child support, they'll hold you up for a minute, like they're having some problems. Then next thing you know, the deputies come in and take you away. They say, oh yeah, you just went there for fishing license, just like the other people in Vegas went there for the concert. You know, they weren't expecting to leave injured, you know, bloody, in a mass shooting. But America also says that was the worst mass shooting, like they did also in Orlando. They said that was one of the biggest mass shootings in America's history.
What the difference
well, I
between
got
them
something
two,
to
though?
tell them.
Can you know the difference between them two, though?
What's that?
The one in Orlando, they call that a terrorism. Act of terrorism. This dude here, he's just a lone wolf. He mentally ill
So
and
what's the
all
difference
that.
between the two shooters then? That's what you got to get
Yeah,
down to.
exactly.
What you got to get down to.
Well.
So this is a white shooter in Las Vegas, and the other guy just happened to have.
But anyway, it
Some
wasn't the
darker
worst mass
features or
shooting.
maybe
features.
area.
It wasn't the worst mass shooting
Right.
in America's history.
Well, that's true,
I
too.
got one that I can tell them that's right up the road here in Florida, Rosewood.
Yep.
You know, they
Wow.
shot everything, the people and the animals. If it was in the house, it went house to house.
Right.
You know, not just in Rosewood, anywhere else that it
You
was
can
some
go to
black people
Oklahoma.
living.
You can go to Oklahoma
Right.
for area. You can go to East St. Louis. You can go to Little Rock. All those places had mass killings of hundreds of people
Absolutely.
that we know of. And then there's a civil rights lady I heard an interview, and she says, and I still have to pray for the ones who just disappeared. And the guy says, what do you mean?
Exactly.
He said there were some people that would go, they would leave the meeting, and you never hear from them again. You never found their grave. You couldn't even say whether they were alive or dead. They just disappeared.
Them the ones they cut from off the tree.
No. I'm telling you, Mel, they just disappeared.
They just disappeared.
Nobody knows what happened to them. The speculation is they took them somewhere so far down into the woods that they never found their body. See, so you can't even count those because you don't have a body, of course, so nothing really happened.
Yeah, so them numbers is probably a little on the smaller end. You know what I mean? So just,
So that's an important rule about why I named the show B100, because America ain't being 100. It never has. You know, it never has. And probably the way things going, it never will.
no, America always been 100. It's you who choose to turn a blind eye to it. America
been
is
100.
what it is. So if you understand what America is from its inception, it is exactly what it is.
But it ain't
It's
been
meant to-
100 with the people.
Oh no, that's because you choose to be blind. You choose not to educate yourself.
That's
or you
why-
choose to just go along with the agenda because it's hard to pop that bubble and look at what's really
Right.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Think
got to
about
go
it.
from the outside to the inside.
The
you know?
killings that happened in Las Vegas was the same kind of killings that happened from the inception of America. That's what America was founded on.
Absolutely.
This Thanksgiving that you celebrate, go look at the history.
Right.
Those people were in dire needs, about to die. They asked the Indians to help them. The Native Americans helped them, and in return, they went and slaughtered them, and then took the food
Took
and
their
came
land, took
back,
the land
took
too.
the land and came back and had a feast. And we don't talk about that.
Now we get them turkeys
Yeah, so
and
so
corn.
so you find just a pattern day in, day out. They went over to Hawaii and took over, just invaded that territory. They went down to Grenada to practice bombing. They went down to Panama and dropped bombs on people in pretense of getting Noriega, but they wanted to practice using them stealth bombers on somebody just to see how bad they were. America understands violence better than anybody in the world.
Yeah, because we can't, out of all places you name, we can't leave out Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico, we spent a little bit too much money on it.
They went
Well,
over
I mean,
there.
why would a man say something like
Right.
that? Puerto Rico, we spent a little bit too much money on you.
Because that's
Right.
that's prioritizing economics over individual life.
Exactly.
So
See what I'm
like, you know
saying?
what I mean? And so that's all America's been about. Slavery, it was about getting rich.
Yeah.
Civil War was about them freeing slaves, because what they don't tell you about the Civil War is before that it was up to like 99, what's the word I'm looking for? 99 slave revolts. More than that, Turner. You couldn't control them no more. So you have to give them this guise that you're going to free them, because they're going to continue to fight. No people want their freedom, so we're going to give you slavery, or the North is mad that the South is getting rich. So we go to war, this Emancipation Proclamation, which didn't free nobody because it was only for the South, and the South had effectively broke from the Union. So who did he really free? You know what I mean? People don't understand, oh, this dude is a great dude. Oh, okay, you could say that. But that's the lies that they continue to perpetuate to us as people to make us feel good. Like I was taught George Washington, he's the founding father, they're good people. Like this man who owned the slave? Like you talking about the man who owned the slave? I'm supposed to look at him like he's some
Absolutely.
hero to be like, no, because I have morals. And morally, that's insufficient. You know what I mean? So you shouldn't, and that's what they do. They're like, oh, you should be happy at these people. Like, no, you shouldn't.
Because I didn't want to learn about Christopher Columbus. I wanted to try to help moms put some food in the refrigerator.
A mass
Teach
murder.
me some of that, you know. Because the lady called in a couple of weeks, and she asked me, she says, how can we bring justice into our kids nowadays? I told her, you just got to start at the house, you know. You got to start at the house, because you can't really just take, you know, a kid from what he's seeing right now today and tell him justice working.
It depends who you are. Two sets of rules, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, it depends. Like for people that look like us, there is no justice.
No.
None whatsoever. Now,
Absolutely
now,
not.
if you're on that other side of the spectrum and you just a little lighter than us, then there's plenty of justice for you. You know what I mean? It just depends who you is and your monetary value that you have to bring to the table.
And see, I think the key is that when we talk like this, the more people we can engage and get them involved in what we're talking about. And sometimes it's hard, because you done built up all this conception in your mind about what's real and what's not real. You know?
Exactly.
And then when I come and burst your bubble and tell you there's no Santa Claus, whoops, what? That's what I believed all my life, you know.
Right.
Not me.
I know.
I remember staying up late as I could. I caught that sucker.
Right.
You know, going in the back of my truck or my car.
Yeah, like Ron DMC said, Santa Claus don't make it to the ghetto.
Right, yeah. all I knew is that something didn't feel right, because I lived in the projects.
He left your
You
stuff
know,
at Walmart.
I just left. I grew up in the projects, so I was up on the second floor. Man, how's this dude gonna get here? And I stayed up all night watching. I finally see my dad go down to the car and went, I got it. I got it.
And
And
another
that
thing
made
with
a
that,
difference. That made a difference in my life, because it got me to asking other questions.
no, that's what they do. And the thing about Santa Claus and all that, you essentially lying to your kid. And you teaching them that it's okay to lie if it's
Right.
for the greater good. So
Exactly.
when your child grow up and tell a lie, you're like, I don't know where you learned to lie from, like from you.
Right.
And believing in Santa Claus and all the other things help them believe in other things too. Not gonna touch on that too much, but you know what I mean? If you can believe in that, you can believe in other things, and that makes it okay.
Yeah,
You
like-
know what I mean? Like when you say it starts at home, you're right.
Yeah.
I tell my kid, man, ain't no Santa. If you want something, you come ask me. I'm not gonna set no day to the side. That you're not supposed to. If you
Yeah.
need a bicycle, I'm gonna go buy you that
There you
bicycle.
go.
I'm not gonna wait till
There you
this
go.
day that
You're
they
not
tell
gonna
me to
wait
go
till
spend my
Christmas,
money.
not wait
you know
for
what I mean?
birthdays or nothing like that, because in society, the waiting game, my mom's always said, wait breaks the bridge. And this bridge has been broken for years.
Right.
And probably ain't too much you can do. Ain't no engineers in the world that you can bring in and fix this bridge. You know, this gonna have to take a special fix. And what I try to show on this show is it's gonna pretty much take unity. We're gonna have to use that word that's on the U.S. currency, the United States of America. It's time to unite or you're gonna fall here.
But, yeah, I agree, but
You know,
that
so-
would mean confronting white privilege, which most
Yeah.
people don't want to confront.
That's why you got to.
know what I
That's
mean?
why you got to get the country back to the people. You know, let the people be the judge and the jury.
It was never
You
for
know.
the people though. It was
Yeah.
never for the
It
people.
was never for
it was
the
a
people.
guys. You know what I mean? It was.
No, it's just-
I think the best thing they did was the Second Amendment,
Mm-hmm.
the right to bear arms, because they can't just come in here and just take us over. But you know,
Yeah.
they're trying to take that away.
Yeah.
The way things is going, so it just we have to have that uncomfortable conversation with everybody. But everybody, like you said, everybody don't want to come to that party.
Yeah,
You know
but,
what I mean?
but that's what I'm saying. When you look at what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia, with all those people up there, the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazis, and all those people, they were basically fighting for the same thing black folks fight for every day. They wanted good health care.
Exactly.
They wanted a good salary. They wanted a warm place to go home to at night. That's the same thing we want. We don't want no difference. But the problem is, once again, they don't know who they're fighting. The reason they don't have jobs is not because of black folk. They don't have jobs because of corporations. They don't have jobs because of rich people like our current president, who takes a lot of his business overseas. They don't have jobs because now companies like Apple and all them, they have offshore accounts where they're saving billions and billions of dollars just by the way that they operate.
Yeah.
See, and all of that could change if the jobs would come back. I guess. I don't even know if the jobs can come back now in the global society now. That ball is rolling so fast now, we're going to have to start thinking of something else to do.
Like I
with it.
said, that
Nah, but
bridge
it's-
is broken.
Yeah.
The bridge is
We're going
broken.
to start thinking of something
We done
else.
waited for so long.
But
have to
but
start
my
moving
point
towards
is,
self-sufficiency, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
But,
you
them,
know-
but them guys who were laboring under the myth that somehow black folk are the cause of their problems, if they sit down and really start analyzing their bank accounts, start analyzing what happens on a day-to-day basis, they'll find out they just as black as we are. They just getting a free pass on the honorary card for voting rights. You know, it's like when we used to be counted as 3/5 of a human being. That didn't mean we could vote. That didn't mean 3 of us could vote and count for 5. It meant that we were considered cattle, and we would give you, as a white guy, the privilege to vote more. You see? So that's what's happening to these guys. They're not really getting the benefit because really the top 1% is controlling. And our mission, like I said, is to tell more people what's going on, lay out an agenda for them, and even if they don't accept it today, one day they might realize, man, we got beat here. We got bamboozled. You know, so we need to maybe go down here and help these guys to get back on track.
See, usually we have a live call-in show on the B100 show, and right now with the conversation that we having right now, that's why we ain't doing it today.
Right.
Because the phone will be just overwhelmed, you know,
Okay,
today.
okay.
Because it's a touchy conversation. It's a conversation that goes, you know, into everybody's living room, to everybody's mind frame. Because today, you don't even know if it's safe to even go to the mall. You don't know if it's safe to go to Walmart there, you know. I mean, because people right now, it's on edge, you know. They got to worry about, they want you to right now to make sure you always keep an evacuation kit, you know, around your house, because you never know when what your boy Kim Jong-un is gonna do. You never know what Mr. Trump up there gonna do.
I'm not even worried about him.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him.
You know, you
Shit,
can't worry
I got
about it.
problems here I need to
Yeah,
worry about. We
yeah.
got to
Just
fix our home before we go try to
Yeah,
fix
that's
somebody
what I
else's
say.
home. You know,
You can't
Exactly.
never. That's all the time. You can't go to somebody until they laundry dirty and dingy when you're looking out of dirty windows.
No, but it's easier to point the finger at somebody too,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can get it off of you. You know what I mean? Because we sit here and point the finger at ourselves.
But
man.
America
Listen, you don't have to-
America got 20 more fingers pointing right back at them.
And that's what you have to destroy the whole fabric of what you know on everyday living. Like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
think about our music, right? Rap music. It's the only music that is self-destructive. I bet you won't go listen to no country album. I bet you won't go listen to no bluegrass. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna sell my homie this. I'm gonna shoot 6 people, then I'm gonna go to church and do all that. Like, you have to understand, but who is signing these artists? These artists are not signing themselves, so it's a war through that. You know what I mean? When I say white people, I don't mean all white people bad, because like you say, someone got it worse than us. You know what I mean? I'm talking about
Absolutely.
the elitists, you know what I mean? The elitists who could sit back and control that, the 1%, like he was talking about. It's just, we have to understand the game that is being played, and if you don't know the rules, you can't play the game, which is why we're able to sit here and have this discussion, because we can kind of see what is going on. Do we have all the answers? No. I'm pretty sure so much that we don't know, but from what I can see what's going on, it's not a pretty picture for anybody who is here in America. Right. We're all slaves. Like I was saying, we wage slaves. Like, you go to work, pay for your house, and you spend more time in your truck and at work than you pay for your house, man, you a slave. You know, you just go there to go to sleep. You know what I mean? So I don't care what it is. Like, it ain't nobody going hunting and growing and doing all their own things. So we're all miseducated to an extent, like you were saying with the people at Charlottesville. They're fighting for the things that we want, but they have to blame somebody because that is the fabric of something, because they're miseducated.
See, have you ever seen a magician? A magician will have you looking at the right hand while the left hand is doing things.
It's taking your watch right off.
Trump is the right hand. And while we over here laughing and joking and making fun of him, over here on the left hand, they're passing legislation that's taking away our health care.
Exactly.
They're passing legislation that's cutting our taxes to where they're going to get a big tax benefit while we're going to have to pay more of their taxes.
You see Paul Ryan say we ain't worried about that right now.
Yeah, well,
we're trying to pass this bill.
Right. They say they ain't worried about nothing, but they letting their right hand Trump go out there, and everybody's excited. Whoa, look at him. Let's make a joke about him. You better look behind him and ask. Every time he make a joke, somebody need to go over here and look and see what we missing.
Yeah,
that's the
one
first
thing that we missing
right
is they going into them little small rural towns, you know, in states like Alabama, and winning Republican votes for senators and stuff like that. So majority of the map will be wiped with Republicans, and then so therefore when election time do come up again for a new commander in chief, they won't have a spitting chance.
But the Republicans and the Democrats are the same.
That's what I said.
You know what I mean?
That's what I said.
They ideologies differ on how they gonna spend money. If you ask me, you know what I mean? Like, they all in cahoots together with these laws they pass, and they creating 2 classes, the rich and the poor. There won't be no middle classes. Either you got it or you don't.
Right.
And those of us who don't sit back and want to get engaged in politics will be the ones on the lower end of the spectrum. You know what I mean? That's why I believe it's important for us to understand political science and agricultural science and military science and all these different things to understand, because this world is a lot bigger than just going to work and trying to find out who hating you. Because like 9 times out of 10, your neighbor, whether he white, orange, green, or red, he probably don't hate you. It's an ideology in his mind. Yeah. But like, you know, because he was taught something, but he don't even know why. That's why we need to have these constructive conversations.
He ain't comfortable enough to even want to think about letting his guards down, or to say, hey, you know, I mean, do you mind if I use your lawnmower after you get done? I'll put a little gas in it. I mean, little things like that.
It's fear,
he ain't gonna do it.
Like, you know what fear does to the body? Paralyzes you.
Absolutely.
Fear motivates you. It like that, and that's what everything is based on. When you see these shootings and all this, it's perpetuate fear. When you see a black man shot down on the TV, that's just a modern day lynching. It's all across the TV.
One of my solutions to, trigger finger police officers and stuff like that is to, why don't you put the first 3 rounds as non-lethal and leave the other ones as lethal? Because the first 3 rounds, I mean, I done seen rubber bullets make anybody fold like a cardboard box.
For me, man, that's just
who they... If you hit somebody 3 times with one, I mean, you ain't kill him. He do get to tell his story.
But see, that's what was thinking though. For me, that's just who that person is. Exactly. That's just who he is. He ain't thinking, he's thinking lethal. You know.
There was a video where a policeman stopped a white guy. I think it was in Kentucky or something.
Right.
And was stopping him, and the white guy got upset. Went into his car, got his gun. The policeman was running around the car just like the Keystone Cops, while the guy shot at him, and he was shooting back at the guy. Now, you know, had you gone back into your truck, your car, there's a strong chance that they would have started shooting before that. But the policeman kept saying, now, don't do that, don't do that. And the guy said, I'm going to do this anyway.
Right.
Now, whereas then you got a brother, he get out of his car, and he's running away, and they shoot him in the back. And the policeman got off, by the way. Jury for that, but then Here this guy is, all he had to do was do his job, quote unquote, whatever that means. You know, so that's what we face every day, that double standard that Jeffrey talked about. We live under two laws, and until we come to a point where we start saying that louder to more people, then they're still going to believe it's we the people, when it's really we by ourselves and them
That's the
by
target.
themselves. Yeah.
You the target.
Yeah, you
Goes on.
become it.
Okay. Okay, we got 15 minutes. You know, we got plenty of conversation to go, fellas. You know, I mean, it's so much going on.
You want to talk about Cam Newton and how he hate women?
Really? Wow. They
That's
took
what they
all
said.
that.
That's what they
took
said.
all that just because he said when a woman run a route.
Yeah.
No, so the reporter, it was funny to him hearing a woman ask him a certain question like that. To me, like, I kind of understood where he coming from. It's just like, you just not used to women saying certain things. Not that he was being sexist in his comments. He was just being genuine. He was being who he was. And he got demonized for that. He didn't say, oh, you can't report on that. He just laughed and was like, it's funny to hear a woman talk about these things. You know what I mean? Just think of, like, we talking about a physical sport, not saying a woman can't do that, but he was just saying, like, he never encountered anything like that to himself.
Well,
you
the
know what I
man
mean?
got 2 daughters. He told him today he got 2 daughters. I had 2 daughters, you know, so I'm very respectful to women. And then, you know, when you look at it, you know, I done heard, I mean, your president himself did more than what Cam did.
Right.
You ready to already take him? You
yeah.
already ready to take him to court. You already got a cell set up for him, but you ain't said nothing to your commander in chief. Matter of fact, he ain't even brought his taxes to the forefront. But he talking about he want to pass a tax bill where you can only fill out 1 page.
Well, you know,
He ain't filled out no pages.
with Cam, they talking about taking sponsorship from
Oh, they
him.
already did.
Really?
Oh, they already did.
They already got him.
Okay, they already got him an
Yeah,
endorsement.
they started jumping ship, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like quick, huh?
Yeah,
Real quick.
just because he said, I'm surprised. I mean, he might not know. That might have been the first woman ever said anything to him. You know,
And what she say? I mean, I'm trying to
all
figure
she
out
said, well, you
the
know, all she
route.
said was
asked-
once you did the route and you did the
Nah,
something.
she asked him about David Funchess and was he happy how he was embracing the physicality of his route running. You know what I mean? Because, you know, in the NFL, you going across that middle.
Right,
they
right,
pin you.
right.
They smack you. So he thought it was kind of funny for a woman to be asking such a question because, like, given if you ain't played in that sport, how would you even have that insight? You know what I mean? Because most reporters never even played football. They're just saying they're just trying to ask questions. And he thought it was a little funny. I didn't see nothing wrong with it. I'm like, it ain't like
Yeah.
he demonized her. He laughed and he went on to answer the question.
Like he
you know
said,
what I
what
mean?
Trump said, grab him in the triangle, you know,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
want to. I mean, run
Yeah,
up
but-
and kiss him in the mouth, and when you think about it, you know.
But that's the purpose of TV, though. We need to give you something to talk
And
about.
see, and that's
Look,
why-
like it-
What did that
That's-
do? That changed our focus from the shooting
Shooter.
in Las Vegas to a black man.
Now they're
There
going
you
to
go.
start
You
passing
hear what I
laws.
said?
Yeah.
Now we back to a black man
Yeah.
doing something wrong.
There you go.
Because it wouldn't have been no big deal when my wife heard it. Because by the way, in my household, she can tell you more about routes than I can. that ain't my game. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but she laughed. She said, "Fool, we know a whole bunch about football." And she started talking to me, and I thought, "Oh my God," you know. But I don't think she would have taken any endorsements from him.
No.
She might have pulled him to the side and said, "Yo, let me explain a few things to you about what I know about football that my husband don't know nothing about it." You know?
Right.
But it's just, you know, but once again, what happened? The right hand and the left hand.
Absolutely.
Right hand right now is Cam Newton. He's out front. While the back hand, what's going on? They doing they dirty. They get ready to wipe that Las Vegas thing up under. I bet it won't be on the front page next week.
No.
You know.
No.
No, it's over. They're going to have probably a year from now, we will be Las Vegas strong like they do at Orlando. They want you to always remember these things, ingrain these things into your mind, to always have fear. Because I guarantee you it's going to be some type of legislation that's passed that's going to be used to basically cut off. From my understanding, they're trying to make bump stocks illegal now. And that's just going to be...
What is it? Bump stops.
What's the bump stop?
bump
Oh, yeah,
on
that's
on
for the
gun
gun.
to
That's
make it
on the
like
gun.
to make it shoot, to make
Oh,
it
okay,
shoot
they're
like
gonna
a
make it-
machine
oh.
gun. You know,
Yeah, they
but
say the
that's what
thing
it's-
only costs $200.
regardless of what it costs, they're gonna
know,
take it from you.
they
You
say
know
it
what I mean?
costs
They want to
$200.
be the only ones with, like, it's like with the North Korea thing. They're like, oh, North Korea got his nukes. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure we got like 360 of them ourselves. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it's, no, we don't need you to have what we have. We want to have the bigger gun. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what it is. It's all about taking,
Same.
like, everything, even with 9/11, it's about taking our rights slowly but surely. Like, things you're seeing, these is plans that's been implemented for a long time. They got 100-year plans about how they're going to slowly just disintegrate our
They
rights.
say a lot of things that happened with 9/11. A lot of those people disappeared too.
Oh, yeah, I've
A
seen
lot of
couple
people
yeah.
that actually seen it happen, they automatically disappeared too.
Well, from what I understand, one of the guys that they called a terrorist, who they thought was on the plane who had died, called in and said, "Hey, I'm alive," and everybody went like, "No, he's not. He ain't alive," and they ignored all of that, you know. But strategically, it gave them the rights, as you said, to now have us halfway undressed when we go through the airport.
Or the Patriot Act that was passed
yeah,
after that,
the
where they can read
Patriot
our
Act.
emails,
Right,
phone records.
right.
Now, that was passed so they can find terrorists. That's all that was done. But what happened after 9/11, I was only in the 10th grade when it happened, by the way, but I remember everybody felt this unity that you was talking about. Everybody felt okay, but they was writing this legislation to it like, I'm going to take away your rights. You can't do this, you can't do that. If you write an email, I'm going to go through your email. They say they looking for certain words, but they have not arrested no terrorists yet. Like, I think like 3 people been arrested since the inception of the Patriot Act, but it was basically for them, us Americans who signed off on it, to take away our own rights.
Now here is where that double standard that you're talking about, those 2 different rules. In reality, when they were in our emails and on our phone calls, they were actually violating American law. But they let them violate American law.
Right.
You know, the violation continues, a double standard. Now you go and eavesdrop on my email, you could go to jail. But because they are who they are, they got the double standards, and it goes from there. It's just like at Guantanamo Bay. They can go down there and torture. They can go down there and beat you. They can do anything they want to because they're not, quote, on American soil, even though they own Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Now explain that.
It's under the guise of protecting your
Protecting
freedom.
your freedom.
That's what they say. They
Yeah,
use fear to get you to maneuver how they want. They're like,
Right.
this is for your protection.
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm more worried about the damn police, man. You talking about
yeah.
them over it's crazy, but they've constructed such a great agenda to where you don't even think for yourself no more. Like, it's just crazy. It's like whatever they say on that TV is what you're gonna get.
That's
like,
all.
Like,
That's
you know,
all. You
so
don't
they be
get no
like, so
more.
with the shooter, like, if you don't believe me, if they put something on TV right now and say bleach saves lives, if you take bleach and you got cancer,
right.
You'll be gone. You know how many people will be dead in the morning?
Yeah.
Hey, think about it. That's how much control they have over our lives.
Because at one point they started telling you that elephants never had cancer, and they was thinking about injecting elephants' blood into a human, you know, to see if his, you know, DNA pattern would start killing off your cancer cells in your body.
No, it's diet, man.
I was going to say, how about the diet? That might have something to do with the
Yeah.
processed food that we eat. It's causing obesity. It's causing sugar diabetes. It's causing hypertension. It's causing us to die at a very early age.
Absolutely.
And that might be causing cancer as well. But they don't want to lock in on that, because then you gotta talk about all these fast food restaurants and the billions of dollars they make every year. They're not willing to give that up.
No, they're not. They're not. That's why, like, you ever sit around any real rich folks? They don't eat like how regular people eat.
I be around rich people all the time, and it's a sad thing that, you know, when you go around them, you know, like I do a lot of big events and stuff, and when you go around them, they're not happy. I'm completely not happy unless they cutting some throats, you know.
That is their nature. Like I said, man, it's like the polar bear analogy I used earlier.
A lot of them get
If you-
married just so they go
if you
to the
don't-
country club, so they because there's a rule at the country club that you can't bring different females in, if you remember. You know, so you can't be a single bachelor like myself and bring them in when you want to.
Like I was saying, though, it's about the
Excuse me.
our diet. Like, we don't understand what we're supposed to eat. Like, we grew up, like, my mama, she cooked pork chops,
Right.
hog maws, chitlins.
That's
Grew
what
up
I'm
eating
about.
all that.
I'm all
Now I
about
know a
some
little.
hog
Now I know a little better. I'm like, man, you know, man, pork is the only meat that'll stop your heart. Literally, it will stop your heart. You know, red meat is not good
Yeah.
for you. You know what I mean? Eating meats, period, is really not good for you, depending on what your purpose is. But if you grew up in that environment, that's what it is. But it goes back to slavery and taking what we had nothing and making it the best that we could, you know what I mean? But what it is your body cannot fight disease if it's not in an alkaline state. And with the processed food, your body have to work hard to break that down.
Right.
So you got TV, dinner, all that stuff got so much sodium, so your body can't get rid of it. You drinking soda after soda, and your body can't process.
Right.
Your pancreas start going through it, and that's what leads to cancer because your body is from not an alkaline state. And that's why I say it's a war through TV. It's a war with the food. It's a war with education. It's just an all-out war.
Healthcare.
Well, I was just getting ready to say, the minute you call out the pork industry, you're going to get some calls when you get off there from the pork industry saying, cut this show because you interfering with our...
Because pork is almost the #1 selling food right now.
Well, you know,
I mean, far as the meat, because the beef is too high for you to buy.
They sued Oprah Winfrey because she went on and said, no more of that fat beef, right? And the beef industry got lawyers to go sue her because she was talking about what you're talking about, eating healthy to live right. You know, I wish Dick Gregory was still alive.
Oh, man.
Man, to talk about what he did to come out of where he came from, a smoker, a drinker, 300-pounder, down to where he is now. And he had a whole diet regimen that saved a whole lot of people's lives. And, you know, they sued him because they claimed he couldn't prove what he claimed.
Wow.
They did the same thing with Dr. Sebi, though.
Oh, did that right?
Dr. Sebi, he made claims, or they said claims that he was putting articles in the newspaper saying that he could cure AIDS, cancer, any disease of the body. So they took this, you can look this up too. They took him to the Supreme Court, told him to bring 5 witnesses. I believe he brought 23.
Right.
And was proven through the alkaline state, our genetic disposition, what you needed to do. Basically, it's just all about nutrients and minerals, you know what I mean, and just getting to a healthier state. But he was, and what's crazy is after they supposedly came up with this cure for AIDS, he died 2 days later. This man has been running around since the 80s saying he could cure it, because like I said, disease cannot thrive in an alkaline state.
Well, you had the healthiest man in the world. They put him on a magazine one day, and then the next week he died. You know,
like you just look. It's just the people who live vegan. That's technically the best way to go.
They even got water that's vegan. No.
Vegan.
Well, anyway, you know, I mean, hey, it's been good chopping it up about all the big, you know, constant confusion. Because in one of my shows, I came on with the ball of confusion. That's what it is here. It's a ball of confusion, and the only way we're gonna get through it is, hey, I think unity. And then people coming together and letting the people run the state. I mean, because you got Congress up there, everybody that's running things, but nobody's hearing nothing. So, fellas, it's been great having you on, Jeff.
Thank you.
It's also been great, you know, to have, you know, you on. I mean, hey, everybody's opinion, it means something. That's why here at the B100 show, we like, you know, to be able to bring this to the people. Nice living room conversations, that's what we used to call this back in the days, fellas.
Right.
Because we want this living room conversation to get to everybody's room.
Right.
Then hopefully they can start thinking as sharp as you two guys. You know what I mean? So that's what I try to tell people all the time. Let's keep it 100 and move on to the next level. Because life is a little bit too short to be slow. You know, anybody can be slow. And then some people get offended when they say, wow, you're a little slow. Well, you're a little slow because life ain't really taught you how fast to go. How can you win a race when it's already started? You see what I mean? So, like to say, I like to thank everybody for tuning in on this little special show we did today. And hey, we almost lost them. We had to get him back. We had to reel him in. We had to reel in his knowledge. Say, hey, bro, don't go nowhere with that knowledge. We're gonna bring it on in. Okay, so we bring it on in like that. We got to keep it going, you know? So everybody out there, try to be 100 and sharpen things up. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some editing on this.